So this time I'd like to welcome Manuel Perez. Here's my book and a counting point. Okay, thank you. Thank you, Tom.
Wow. Tom, why don't you tell us how you really feel? Thank you, everyone. And good afternoon, and to all of our veterans here today, and distinguished guests, and friends and colleagues. It's truly an honor for me to be here with all of you and with my wife, Gladys. Wife, please stand up. She gets embarrassed when I do that. But thank you so much. And as well, with our veterans, can our veterans please stand up? Thank you so much. Just give them a round of applause, please. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. We are blessed again today, together in this magnificent country, to remember our fallen heroes. We honor as well all the proud veterans who would have made that same sacrifice if God had but called his heroes home in a different order. Every cemetery today, on every veteran gravestone across America, it's decorated with an American flag. And this day of remembrance was first known as Decoration Day, launched in 1868 by the Commander-in-Chief of the Grand Army of the Republic, who designated this day for decorating the graves of comrades who died in defense of their country. All across our country, in small towns and large cities, like veterans groups represented here today, perform the same sacred ritual. I want to recognize and thank the members of local legions and our veterans all across America for their patriotism, devotion, and commitment to honoring the original meaning of Memorial Day. We thank you very, very much. And our hearts go out today especially to those departed veterans left behind. The young women who had to cancel a wedding, or young mothers who raised their children alone. Mothers and fathers who faced perhaps life's greatest heartbreak. To all the families who have placed a gold star in their window, we renew our President's enduring pledge. The United States will always honor and never forsake its fallen heroes. We will not abandon your families. We shall never forget the great sacrifices that each family has made to our great nation. And therefore, let us prepare for the observance of the 70th anniversary of D-Day, June 6, 1944, the Normandy landings, codenamed Operation Neptune, were the landing operations on the 6th of June 1944 of the Allied invasion of Normandy and Operation Overlord during World War II, the largest seaborne invasion in history. The operation began the invasion of German-occupied Western Europe and contributed to an Allied victory in World War II. And also in June, we prepared to observe the 64th anniversary of the beginning of the Korean War. On June 25th, we must reaffirm our commitment to the more than 1.7 million Americans who served in Korea. More than 36,000 men lost their lives there, and the more than 8,000 that are still missing today. I also want to honor our Vietnam veterans. Vietnam was one of the most painful chapters of our history. Our men were often blamed for a war you didn't start, when you should have been commended for serving our country with valor. You were sometimes blamed for misdeeds of a few, when the honorable service of the many should have been praised. You came home and sometimes were denigrated, when you should have been celebrated. And that's why here today we resolve that it shall never happen again to any veteran. Nearly 60,000 U.S. men lost their lives in an unsuccessful bid to stem the spread of communism in a Southeast Asian country. And the fierce domestic dispute over the conflict remains a political fault line dividing the baby boomer generation. Let us resolve that when America sends our sons and daughters into harm's way, we will always give them a clear mission. We will always give them a sound strategy. We will give them the equipment they need to get the job done. We should always have their backs. And also today, President Obama has pledged to end homelessness among veterans. And has pushed the Congress for a post-9/11 GI Bill to pay for college for Iraq and Afghanistan veterans. President Obama has praised our veterans for their post-war advocacy for better support programs for those returning home from foreign conflicts. And in the California State Legislature, we are also doing our own part. California Proposition 41, the California Veterans Housing and Homeless Prevention Bond Act, is on the June 3rd, 2014 ballot in California that we need all of you to support. If the initiative is approved by the state's voters, by yourselves, it will enact the Veterans Housing and Homeless Prevention Bond Act of 2014 to authorize $600 million in bonds to provide multi-family housing, such as apartment complexes, to low-income veterans and supportive housing for homeless veterans. Let's make sure we come out to vote June 3rd and we vote for that initiative. And Tom as well mentioned that we have a piece of legislation as well that we got out of the Assembly House about a week ago, and it's now moving on to the Senate, which provides transportation services for our veterans that need them, especially when they're going to the VA hospitals. And I know here in this area, it's difficult for folks, especially knowing that we're in rural California, and then for folks in Blythe, quite frankly, in Imperial County, because I represent the Coachella Valley as well as Blythe and Imperial County as the 56th Assembly District Assembly member. Folks don't have transportation, and they have to drive all the way to San Diego, and they have to drive all the way to Loma Linda. And so our hope is that this bill gets signed, that it gets out of the second house of the Senate, and it gets signed by the governor. But know, though, that we have faith. We have quite a bit of members that have authored that piece of legislation as well. And we had unanimous bipartisan support of the Assembly. But I also want to talk about something else that's very important and very near and dear to Tom and to many of you here. Last week, my office, as a result of Tom's advocacy and Veterans for Peace advocacy, my office sent out letters in hopes of coordinating a meeting to discuss a new bill idea which would help LGBT veterans access the benefits they have earned. As you all know, the state of New York has appropriated funds to SAGE to conduct outreach to the LGBT veteran community. We hope to be able to accomplish the same outcome here in California.
Wonderful.
Hang on. Our goal is to increase resources for outreach to the LGBT veteran community. The purpose of the outreach is to have them gain access to case management so that they can receive their earned veterans benefits. Under Don't Ask, Don't Tell, many LGBT veterans were afraid to pursue getting their benefits because of their sexual orientation. Others could have been dishonorably discharged, therefore disqualifying them from getting their benefits. But now that Don't Ask, Don't Tell has been lifted, those that were dishonorably discharged can get an honorable discharge status and begin to receive their benefits. And those that were afraid should no longer have to be afraid. So know that we're working hard to ensure that our veterans truly are respected and honored as they should be. I've sat on the Veterans Committee for my first 4 years in the Assembly. And it's been an honor being your Assembly member over the course of these last 5.5 years. And perhaps we didn't see eye to eye on every piece of legislation. But know, though, ultimately, that my heart is in the right place, and the way I see it is that we try to bring social justice and economic justice closer to our communities every single day through policy and through grassroots organizing. And quite frankly, policy making, some people may call it the treetops, but policy making is nothing if we don't have the grassroots. And it's important that we continue to advocate at the local level. That's how we hold legislators and policymakers at every single level of government accountable. And we have to continue to fight hard for our veterans, knowing that many folks that are homeless are veterans. And so I really do ask you that as you receive your vote by mail ballot or you go to the polls, right, that you also strongly consider that initiative and support the initiative, because our veterans need that. And quite frankly, as well, I ask you for your support for Riverside County Board of Supervisors for District 4. I am proud to have been homegrown, and Tom is right. I grew up in Coachella and my parents were farm workers, but I learned from them at an early age that I had to work hard, I had to get educated to get out of poverty, and if there was a time that was permitted for me to give back. And so we think that we've done a fair job at the state level, and now my hope is that I can do a better job for you at the county level. I also want to say thank you to Veterans for Peace and Tom Swan and all his staff and the volunteers. But I also want to thank Father Ned Ritty and his award as well for the Morris Knight Peace Award. I want to thank Clark McCartney as well for the Lifetime Achievement Award. Clark, there you are. I want to thank the Walmart employees for the Organization of the Year Award for their organizing efforts. And I also want to thank an organization that's very near and dear to my heart as well, and they've been with me from the very beginning since I ran for school board in 2004. And that's Comité Latino for the Special Achievement Award, Mario Lascano, for being the leader and for doing the great work that we do. And for fighting hard for comprehensive immigration reform, which is what we need for all our folks. So I just want to say thank you for the invitation. This is my 4th event, and I have 2 more to go to. And then I'm flying back to Sacramento tonight. But this is the easy stuff. This is not tiring. We love to do this because we're here with the people. We're here in the trenches. And Jackie Lopez is here with me as well. She's on my staff. We have an office in Indio. It's not too far from you. We're an email away. We're a phone call away. We're a drive away. If you happen to have a chance to go to Sacramento, I'm on the 4th floor. And I'm also very proud of the fact that now that I'm finishing off my term, I'm privileged to be the right hand and the second of command as the majority leader for the Democratic Party for the state of California for our first openly lesbian speaker, Tony Atkins, out of San Diego. So with that, let's continue to fight for social justice. And thank you, Veterans for Peace, and thank you, Tom Swan, and all the awardees here today. And all our veterans.
Thank you very much, Manuel Perez, our next county supervisor.
Thank
Thank
you,
you,
sir.
Manuel Perez.
Thank you.